What it do, y'all? It's your boy Vante. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all remember to like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends, follow us on social media. Um, Stay tuned in and tapped in with us. A little while ago, around Christmas time, I gave y'all part one of my testimony. So uh, today we running it back with part two. I gave y'all how I went from kind of, what you say, atheist to agnostic. I went from no belief to having an experience to where I knew God was real. But now in part two, I'll give y'all uh, what brought me to following and believing in Jesus Christ in the Bible. Okay, so after that situation in high school, I still wasn't sold on the Bible or Christianity or really any religion per se just yet. I just had the knowledge that God was real. So we'll fast forward to college, right? Now, if you knew me back then from the period of high school up until college, you know, it was like a different time, a totally different person than what most people know today. They get to know me and experience what it is to have a relationship with me now. I was something serious. To to put it plainly, I was something serious. So we get to college. I was having a blast, man. Freshman, sophomore year, I was in a band. I was getting a lot of recognition amongst my peers in the band world. I was feeling myself, you know what I'm saying? Like I was hitting my prime. I was getting the girls I wanted, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. I was having my way. I was turned. We was drinking, smoking. We was lit. It was lit. It was a time. And going into my junior year, it felt like this was the year 2017 that I was gonna be on top. I had got picked to be section leader, taking on a bigger role in leadership in the band. I had a girl at the time, you know what I'm saying? Just good. Life was good. Life was good. So 2017. Okay, we'll go. 2016 was a great, wonderful year, awesome year, lit. It was a different time. 2017 is supposed to be building up on 2016, but 2017 for me turned out to be probably the hardest year of my life. Worst times for me. Everything that could go wrong just went wrong, and it was just like my world was crashing down, man. Right before me, it was just tough. In the season of band where I felt like it was gonna be my best year, my favorite year, because I got a chance to be a section leader and do something with them that hadn't been done before. There was just a whole lot of issues, whole lot of drama. that was just unexpected. And then I started having issues with my relationship at the time. And then I found myself just like unhappy and distracted. And then my grades start falling off. And then closing the year out towards the end of that fall semester, my parents get into it real bad. They split up. Then I have a issue with a teacher who messes me over, bruh. Messes me over with the grades and thing. Fails me. And then I end up being on academic probation because all my classes all around was lousy. My grades lousy all around. But the one class, because failed me in, like really messed me up. So I ended up on academic probation. Didn't have no way to pay for school. Relationships going down the toilet. My mom and dad are split up. I think that happened on Christmas. Yeah, on Christmas. So I done just lost everything, bro. Like in just a couple months of what's supposed to been the best year yet. So while I was on academic probation, I was at home, just chilling. Everybody's gone, and I'm depressed, like experiencing extreme depression, like for the first time. And I'm sitting at home, and I'm just feeling defeated, and I'm feeling down on myself, and just like broken, and just like a disappointment, bro. And so I remember one day I was just sitting in the dark and I was crying by myself, just crying. And it was just like voices in my head that was just like, you're worthless. You messed up. You know, you're a failure. You'll never be nothing. And it was just like extremely loud, and they were like constant. And I remember going in the restroom, and I had this rifle we had, and I had a knife, and then I had a piece of paper and a pen. And I was just looking in the mirror crying. And I remember I had just sat there, and I was like thinking on if I was gonna write this note to my family or not. I was sitting there thinking about committing suicide, and I remember I had picked the pen up and started to write. Couldn't get the words out. Started crying harder. And then I just looked up, and I was looking in the mirror, and I picked the gun up and put it to my head. And the voices were just loud, just do it, do it, do it, do it. Nobody will miss you. Nobody will miss you. It wouldn't mean nothing. Don't write the note. And it was just so loud and so many voices. It was like real, bro. I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced that, but it's just like real. And I ain't know nothing about demons and all that at the time. So in the midst of all of that, as my fingers on the trigger and I'm getting ready to squeeze it, all of a sudden, in the midst of all the loud voices, there was just like a very calm, still voice. And it was just like, stop. And then I couldn't hear any of the other voices anymore. It was just like, stop. And then I felt like a sense of peace. And I just put the gun down, put all the stuff back up, went in my room and just cried. And was just crying. I was just like, man, I was really about to kill myself. Like, I was really, like, tripping out then. I was like, man. And so then, with my first experience, before I knew it at the time, that of hearing God's voice. And then I ended up getting on Snapchat. I started having conversation with this girl that was going to the school at the time, and I was going through a tough time as well, and we just started talking back and forth, and so we become friends, and over time we grow closer. I get introduced to her family, and her family are Christian, and it was like, with them, it was my first time experiencing what it, from like an outside perspective, what a Christian is supposed to be like. Like, before you start reading, you don't know, but once you read about this thing called fruits of the spirit. And when I met her mom, she was very patient with me, and we sat down and talked like for a long time. Like, almost every day I would come and I just ask her all kind of questions about the Bible and about Jesus and God and stuff like that. And she just never got like frustrated with me or irritated. She just would sit there and listen to me, and then if she knew the answer, she would give me what she thought. And then what I respected was when she didn't know the answer, she'll be like, I'm not sure, but we can look it up together. And we would sit there and look it up and then talk about it. And she was like how you can experience God through people, like how it's supposed to be, how we're supposed to be examples of Christ. She was like one of the best examples of that I had came across without knowing it, before knowing anything about that, before I had even started reading. So that was setting like the foundation, leading me to him in understanding what it is to have a relationship with God, not just be a Christian like that just goes to church. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody really have a relationship with him where you can sense God when you're around them or talk to them. And so of course, I told y'all in the first part that I grew up, I was raised to ask questions all the time. And so around college, I started to get into like the conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Started getting to like the conspiracy theories and stuff. I just always thought it was interesting, just the questions. But I think, honestly, those questions and conspiracy theories are what helped bring me to understanding that there was some validity to who Jesus Christ is. Because it was like at the root of every conspiracy theory that I was looking into, it was like it had something to do with being the complete opposite of what God says in the Bible. I was just giving Lana some examples of that, but just like biggest examples like the Big Bang Theory. They want to say, or that's one of the first things you learn in school. But that's one of the first things you learn in the Bible is that God created the world in the first 6 days. And that God is the originator. There's nothing before him, and that everything comes from him, right? But in school, we learned that we came from nothing. That something or everything came from nothing. It just happened. There was an explosion, and now all of this design is without a designer. I just thought that was crazy, just applying logical things to it, and then noticing how every religion that I encountered or was studying, they point to Christ or give him some credit in some way, whether they say he's a prophet or he's an enlightened one or he's a Buddha, you know what I'm saying? Like all of that. But when I sat down to start reading the New Testament from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John myself, it was like, okay, they all point to him, but he's the only one that says, I'm the only way. So I'm like, if all y'all acknowledge him, but he only acknowledges himself, there's something to look into there. And then I remember as an atheist, like every opinion I had of Christianity and of the Bible was just something I had heard somebody else say. It wasn't from nothing I had read. And it's like all the questions I had from when I was an atheist, when I sat down to read for myself, it was like, boom, every question was getting answered. Everything was clear to me. And it was just like the scriptures I was coming across that you shall seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. I was just like, this is what's happening, because I just wanted to know the truth. And yeah, we know scripture says that Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. So it's like he started to reveal himself to me before when I had a hardened heart. And you ask the questions, it's like you're not asking truly wanting to know. You already kind of have a preset mind of what it is and what it ain't. And you don't give him room to show up and give you the truth. But when I just opened my heart to it and my mind to seeing what it is and realizing that there is evil in this world. But at the same time, if there's evil, there has to be good. And I look at most of the things, not most of the things, but I look at the things that seem to be evil, and they, it's like they're manifested to bash or go against Jesus Christ. And the way they treat Jesus in the world is not the way they would talk about any other religion or major figure in other religions. Jesus is the only one that gets constantly scrutinized. And my last piece of little logic was just that you have to be you know how important you have to be to have been talked about 2,000 years, to be the most talked about man 2,000 years after you died. Whether you believe he is who he says he is or not, to be the most talked about man ever 2,000 years after you're dead and gone. It's got to be some validity to it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, there was a lot of evidence, both logically, outside of the Bible, trying to reason with the world as we see it today, and how God describes the world to be, and the people at his time, and I just saw that there weren't contradictions. There wasn't lies or falsehoods in it. Everything that I saw God said, when I looked at it and applied it to real life, it was true and it worked. And so I learned about having personal relationship, and then I learned about embracing the truth and having an open and pure heart to letting God do what what it is that you're seeking from him. And so I just started reading a lot. I started looking at a lot of sermons. A dude by the name of Pastor Darby. I was watching a lot of street evangelism, DaraJT, and what's the other fella he was running with? If you look at DaraJT, you'll see him. He'll come up. But the dudes that was in Canada, and they just made the world around me make sense. And I just saw that everything that I had went through before, and that I had seen while I was an atheist, and that God had brought me through, that all the while I was denying him, and saying that I didn't believe and stuff like that, he was just setting up the stage for me to have no other way to deny him. He took all of that and turned it around. The very things that I was using to try to discredit him to be the things that I glorify him with, and give him the respect that's due his name. So it's been a journey, and then ever since then, it has been a roller coaster, man. God has took me through a lot of stuff. But it's probably the best decision I've ever made. Like, cause you're gonna go through challenges in your life, whether you walking with God or not, but it's just something about having the comfort and confidence of having the man who is over the whole world in your corner, and knowing that he's gonna work it out in your favor. Not just because you love him, but because he loves you. And with that, I think that's it for the part 2 of my testimony. You know, y'all let me know if there's anything else y'all have questions or want to know about. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tap in with us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook if you got it. I just want to thank y'all for listening. Don't forget to pray tonight. It's your boy Vante signing out. I love y'all, and y'all have a good night.